Hello and welcome to another Climate Emergency Centre Network Wednesday webinar, where the wisdom being dispensed this week is from Emma and Dominic from the Energy Saving Trust, who we connected with at the Earth Fest that happened the other weekend. Fantastic event, and I'm very interested to hear about them because they've been going a similar time to our group, setting up eco centres since the 1992 Rio Earth Summit, and they're doing some absolutely incredible work advising people about all aspects of energy, from housing to transport to fuel poverty to, from households to industry and government and all levels. So, okay, over to Emma and Dominic. Thank you very much for coming. Over.
Thanks, Phoenix. Yeah, thanks for having us. It was great to connect at Earthfest last week. And yeah, Dominic and I usually kind of focus on our kind of energy advice side, but I think, Phoenix, you mentioned it might be good to start off just by going through who we are, where we started, and some of the other programs that we run, as you mentioned, yeah, across a number of different sort of sectors to do with decarbonisation. And then if it's okay, because energy advice, home energy advice is kind of more what Dominic and I focus on. We wanted to talk about that, if that's all right. And I just wanted to mention some of our energy advice services that we run across England as well, to sort of finish up with, if that might be helpful to people here. So just to introduce yourselves, I'm Emma Golding. I'm the Partnerships Officer for our Energy Advice London service. So that's a new service that's been going for about 18 months now, funded by the Mayor of London, and it's to help people. It was really set up in response to the cost of living crisis, so to help people with their energy bills, but also how to reduce their usage and carbon emissions that way. And then Dominic, if you are happy to introduce yourself.
Dominic Francis. I live in Kent. I've done loads of stuff with energy efficiency for a long time. But at the moment I run a team for, well, 4 teams across the country that give energy efficiency advice to people, and help them, point them towards the right schemes, because there's loads of schemes out there. And if someone sort of goes onto the internet, they get lost. So we point them in the right direction.
Great, thanks, Dominic. Okay, hopefully slides are working all right. Yeah, so just to say a little bit firstly about Energy Saving Trust, if you haven't heard about us. So we're an independent organisation, and our mission is to address the climate emergency. And we are a respected and trusted voice on energy efficiency and clean energy solutions, as Finks was saying at the start. So yeah, we began in 1992 as well, after the Rio Climate Summit. And originally Energy Saving Trust was just 2 people, and it's sort of grown from there. And the initial role back then was working with energy companies. So after the Rio Climate Summit, public and policy attention had turned to the problems of cold homes, wasted energy. So that was initially what the team were working on. And probably Dominic can say a bit more about this, because you've
no, seriously, we used to have a network of 52 energy advice centres across the country, which would talk to people about the schemes. You guys will probably be aware schemes come and go, and so we've adapted to work with that. But I mean, the main focus is telling people what they are, what's available to them, and that sort of thing. So the main, we do policy stuff, but my main thing is reducing fuel poverty, as it says on the screen, and helping people with debt and stuff like that. So we will talk to people with all sorts of stuff like that.
So as part of our work, we we're committed to supporting each of the devolved governments of the United Kingdom with each of the different sort of energy saving policies. And to reflect this approach, we've got offices across the UK, London, Edinburgh, Cardiff and Belfast, and we run like different schemes in different areas to respond to sort of the different priorities. Also, just to mention, we don't just work in the UK, we've also got projects across Europe, so we're sort of using our expertise kind of more widely there. So I just wanted to mention kind of some of the different projects that we currently run. So each of the projects really works towards that main mission of working towards a zero carbon society. And it's underpinned by our advice services, like Dominic was mentioning, our data and research, and our understanding of the energy sector. So some of our current programs include LEVI, which is the Local Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Fund. So this is a program in England where we're supporting local authorities to scale up the availability of electrical vehicle charging points through this fund. So that's a huge project at the moment. And also more widely, sort of in that same transport decarbonisation area, we've got this local government support programme. So this is working more generally to help local authorities decarbonise transport in their areas and thereby improve air quality and continually increase that take up of electrical vehicle usage. So we help local councils identify and understand the actions they can take to decarbonise transport in their area and fully understand kind of the impacts that those kind of projects could have. So these programmes are funded by the Department for Transport and is free of charge to all local authorities in England. And some of our other programmes to highlight, we do run a grant programme called the Energy Redress Scheme. So this is on behalf of Ofgem. So through this, we would distribute voluntary payments made by energy companies that may have breached regulations. So some examples of those projects include things like we've given funding to the Centre for Sustainable Energy for a home energy advice programme for rural tenants, that's in Somerset. And there's also a programme run by Macmillan Cancer Support to tackle fuel poverty caused by cancer. But there's just over the years, there's been loads of programmes this fund has helped support. So you can just go on the website and have a look. There's actually loads happening all across the country. And that I can't remember how many, there's sort of several funding rounds to that that organisations can apply to. So, you know, maybe worth promoting that further.
The thing there, Emma, is that energy companies make loads of money and they are required to spend a certain amount of their profit, 10%, I think it is. You can look it up, it might be 13%. On energy efficiency projects. And so what Emma was talking about is we facilitate accessing that money. Does that make sense? That's kind of what we do.
Can we get a web link to that? That sounds amazing, guys.
Yeah, I'll send that round. Yeah, there's lots happening, so it's a really good one. Also, just to mention, I mentioned we work in Europe, so a couple of current projects there that we're running are one called LEA, which stands for Low Energy Inclusive Appliances Programme. So this is supporting the uptake of low energy technologies in developing nations. And we've also been part of the Labelled 2020 project, which is kind of continuing to help a market transition to new energy labels in the UK and Europe. And I also just wanted to mention we do work with other partners like Citizens Advice. So we ran a joint campaign earlier this year for Energy Savers Week, and that was promoting energy saving tips and really just to raise awareness and target those kind of most in need about the support available to help with reducing energy usage and fuel bills. And we also work with some commercial partners. So some current examples include working with B&Q on their energy saving service. So you can get a home energy assessment through them and through that get a personal action plan for ways to make your home more energy efficient. So that's really kind of using our tools to support with that programme. try and get on to the next slide. So this is just some kind of key stats from our 22-23 impact report, again just to give you about a flavour of what we do and our reach. So just to pull out a few, we've supported 139,000 households with energy saving advice that year. We've provided, I mentioned the energy redress scheme, so 22-23 we saw 6.2 million in grant funding to different organisations, and that included charities that were distributing emergency fuel vouchers to 90,000 households across the UK. And the other one I wanted to pick out was that we've awarded 122 million in loans to householders and businesses to help them improve energy efficiency, install renewables, or switch to sustainable transport. So that would be through different kind of grant schemes.
Which is incredible work, guys. Amazing.
It's not enough, Phoenix.
Yeah, indeed.
Seeing as it's over work time, it could be better, but we're doing our best. We're doing our best.
So now I just wanted to kind of bring it on to look, I guess, a bit more closely about the area that we focus more on, which is domestic energy advice. So just to put this into context, obviously this is kind of really key from a number of points of view, but the key ones, I guess, are the affordability perspective. So as we know, we're sort of 2 years into a cost of living crisis or more, and energy prices are remaining high. So this is, a key area for us to support householders across the UK with, but also from a sustainability perspective, as it's a key area to help us reduce our sort of carbon emissions, this sector. So yeah, to put into context, if we're to reach our net zero carbon emissions target as set by the government, then we'll need to reduce the carbon emissions from heating our homes by 95% from the 2020 baseline, which is a whopping amount. And this was some stats that really caught my eye from our website, that the average UK household generated 2,690 kg of carbon dioxide from space heating and hot water in 2020. And by 2050, to reach our targets, we would need to reduce this to just 140 kg per household. So it is a big ask, and that's kind of really what sets, what we
Has anyone got
need to
any
achieve.
suggestions? Air source heat pumps.
Suggestions out there for the university panel. I could weigh in.
Yeah, no, air source heat pumps are the answer, but it's doable. I think it's doable.
So the air source and ground source, other forms of, well, insulation's a big one, isn't it? That isn't being done.
I said that
That's
before.
a massive one.
Our housing stock is appalling, worst in Europe. Yeah, if we insulate and put air source heat pumps, we could do it, but it's a political will.
So Helen's got a question there. If you want to unmute and say, Helen, or you can raise a hand, guys, if you've got they do want questions during the presentation. Over.
Yeah, I just wondered, is every use to be reduced by 95%? So is that personal transport by 95% and everything, or what?
No, that statistic was that's just for heating,
domestic,
domestic contribution to the carbon emissions. So there'll be different.
Just domestic heating or anything domestic?
It includes
domestic energy use.
Yeah, heating, lighting, appliances.
What about consumption of rubbish from China?
Let's not get into that. Let's focus on what we can control.
Yeah, I think Debs has got a question there. Unmute.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, looking at the heat pumps, because I've just been having like a bit of a conversation with my housing association, because they want me to get gas in my house, but I didn't want gas. I had my gas deliberately capped like in 2021 because I've been protesting against fracking and stuff, and I thought, why am I paying for gas when I'm protesting against it? So I had it capped. But now my housing association wants me to put the gas back on. And I was explaining to them that I was hoping that they'd eventually be putting heat pumps in. And they've said to me that if I lived like about 5 miles away from where I live, I'd probably get a heat pump because they don't currently have gas. But because where I live, we've got gas already installed, we'll probably be switched over to hydrogen. But hydrogen's still not that great, is it? So, right, I don't know, like,
Debs,
I'll
what sort of house do you live in, Debs?
it's like, I don't know how old it is, but it's
No,
probably,
I mean, is it flat or a
no, it's
terrace?
like a terrace. It's like an end terrace.
So could you put a heat pump on?
I could probably put it in my garden, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you might, and where do you live in the country?
I'm north, I'm like Lancashire.
Okay, so you might be able to get a heat pump put in.
Right, and that's the other thing, because we have chill, so that's Cozy Homes in Lancashire, where where you can apply
Yeah,
for
I know. Yeah.
a grant to get a heat pump and that, and I've applied and never heard anything back. But I don't know if that's because I'm housing association and it's not my own house.
It would be between you and the housing association whether you can get a heat pump, but it sounds like that would be useful.
Yeah, I don't think they're up for that yet.
Okay, fair enough.
That would be a question. Do people get 100% of the grant for a heat pump? Because I know when they started out, they were quite expensive. I know the price is coming down.
Phoenix, it entirely depends where you live, unfortunately. I hate using the word, but it's postcode lottery. So if they someone rang us, we would work out the best scheme that would suit. And there might not be a scheme in their area. It depends on the local authority. So,
I mean, nationally, there's the grant for energy pumps, so you can get 7,500 towards the cost of a air source heat pump. I mean, I think generally we're sort of saying heat pumps will, depending on sort of what the size of the heat pump that you need for your house, etc. I think often saying it's around 15,000 to install a heat pump, but I think some companies are offering sort of them more cheaply, so it's getting more and more affordable. So that the
you're
grant
right,
could cover
Emma,
a lot
it's
more.
worth looking into. It's worth looking into.
I think Octopus were and other energy companies are available, but
Available,
we're offering some really good deals. So yeah, it's worth looking around if that's something you want to consider.
Have you guys heard about Dale Vince's? He's talking about generating gas from grass, and he thinks that's eco-friendly. Dale Vince and Ecotricity.
No, I've not heard
no
that one.
idea about that.
I think that's a new one, but all right, let's keep rolling with the presentation. If people do have questions, use the reactions tab down the bottom or ask something. Over.
Yeah, I think at this point
going well. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I think we were going to sort of open it up and see in terms of sort of home energy, are there any sort of particular questions that people have, or we can just crack on with some things that we normally cover.
Yeah, does anyone have any personal questions about their house? No? Okay.
I actually have a quick question. I think that the energy
Hello.
prices are too cheap, therefore there is not enough incentive to invest in insulation and energy efficiency. If the energy was more expensive, then there is a clear incentive. But currently, I think that the prices of energy are heavily subsidized, and yeah, energy is, of course, it is expensive, but it is still too cheap. We do not pay for the full cost. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I kind of understand what you're saying. So energy, yeah, this is a sort of global thing. Energy is expensive, but we deal with what we deal with. So Mrs. Miggins, who lives in Droitwich, pays a certain amount of money, and it feels too much for her, or she can't afford it. So I guess the government just tries to ameliorate that.
Yeah, I think the problem is, I guess it's a policy question, because it depends on who will then pay for that. At the moment, the way things are set up, those costs are passed on to the consumer, which is leading to sort of the problems we've been seeing with people kind of deciding not to switch their heating on because they can't afford the electricity and gas at the moment. So which is leading to health problems and hardship to individuals. So I think that's a wider policy question on how we're sort of trying to incentivize these changes to encourage take up of people kind of improving the insulation of their homes and investing in renewable technologies, but in a way that doesn't kind of hurt kind of the individual who might be sort of left suffering through freezing winter, trying not to use their heating as much as possible. So yeah, it's a difficult one, but yeah, it's a good question about how do we continue to incentivize the improvement of our housing stock, because yeah, it's the heat loss is still the massive issue for properties in the UK.
Do you know? Oh, Helen's got a question there. I was going to say something about Europe. There's a lot more insulation. Helen.
Yeah. So I got solar panels about 12 years ago, and I was absolutely delighted with them. Absolutely delighted with them. And then I was approached or saw something about heat pumps, and it was just when I got involved with fracking, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm needing a new boiler. I'm going to get a heat pump. I got a heat pump. When my mum came to stay, I couldn't get the house warm enough for her. I had to put the gas fire on as well. I could not sleep all winter for the cranking of the pipes and the system, because nobody told me you need different pipework, you need bigger radiators, da-di-da-di-da. I would not touch one with a barge pole, and it's with a really heavy heart that I say that.
I hear what you're saying, Helen.
I even asked people like you, because I just started getting to know people like, who were involved in energy and things. They all asked me what the system was, what make it was, and they turned around and said, it's the wrong system, get rid.
Yeah,
so that was £8,000 down the drain. I wouldn't touch one again until
I wouldn't say don't touch one again, because they can work brilliantly. You had a Duff provider.
Yeah. Oh, I know that. But,
yeah.
but also
So,
I'm really worried about the sound, the noise of them.
Yeah, no. So you should either go back to the supplier and go, this is rubbish. You should have changed. I would expect that you install a heat pump, do change the radiators, make them more efficient. And I would always expect that if you put a heat pump in, you would change the piping. If they've not done that, then go to trading standards or something like that.
Oh, it's too late. It's years ago. It's years ago.
No, it's not. No, it's.
I actually went round to their offices in St Helens, and I'm in Leeds, and they'd rebranded as a different company and wouldn't even.
Well, yeah, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they can escape. So.
Oh well, they have, but.
Now, who's your local council, Hal?
It's Leeds.
Well, go to Leeds Trading Standards.
The heat pump's gone. It's just gone. I've got a gas boiler. I just couldn't cope with it.
Okay, so you put a gas boiler. Okay.
But I think my point.
No,
is.
I wouldn't say that's not a good reason to put an air source heat pump in. You've had a bad experience.
Yeah, but I think my point is, there are people getting ripped off all the time. Every time some new thing comes through, there needs to be a much better system of finding reputable fitters and that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
well, it's called the MCS.
Well, I've never heard of it, which and I hear things like this. It's not getting out to the general public. and you
Yeah,
won't
I mean,
get
I
any
think
reaction.
you're right, Helen, in terms of there's still a ways to go in terms of building confidence with the public around, because it's a massive investment, it's a huge change to your property. So, and I think there's still a ways to go in terms of bringing contractors, to bringing like the plumbers, to bringing the people that the fitters that are going to be installing these technologies in your home, to make sure they are fully trained, up to speed, that they know how to explain, as Dominic was saying, they know how to explain, you know, what the impact will be, you know, be able to ensure that the heat pump they're offering is going to meet the heating requirements of your property, that they'll be able to advise if you do need, you know, to change any piping or bigger radiators to be able to properly heat. So you're not going to be, you've got this heat pump, but it's not fully heating, you know, the space. So I think this is a challenge and something that you know, a lot of I'm aware there's a lot of work in trying to sort of build those green skills so that you've got more contractors who are able to do that. I would also say that, you know, this is where I would suggest that, you know, contacting the different energy advice services that we've got across the country. You can speak to advisor if you were thinking, or if you have got friends and family who are thinking of investing in something like a heat pump, to really kind of understand what you might need and what the steps would be to kind of be able to assure yourselves that you're getting the, you know, a bona fide proper contractor, proper fitter to kind of do the installation works. So, you know, we've got guidance on our website, for example, like Dominic was saying, you know, there's the MCS, you can make sure that they're accredited with them. There's different bodies kind of to be able to safeguard that, you know, you're not going to be dealing with a rogue contractor.
I think that sounds like
Helen, I know it sounds complicated, but the basic thing is ring us and one of our advisors will point you in the right direction. So
it sounds like that, you know, it sounds like Helen went in very early as a pioneer, and I have heard that story from a couple of other people who did something 7-8 years ago. And you know, this is to me, even, you know, I've been following environmental and energy solution things for quite a long time. It still feels like a newish technology. We had one bit on it. We had a conversation with the local MP at the first climate emergency centre, Sam Tarry, and he came in and he was saying, look, you know, particularly coming out of lockdown, I've got loads of people unemployed, and they wanted to skill up the area in green jobs. We were chatting to them about that. They were talking about, well, it'd be great if we could get people trained up in air source and ground source heat pumps and create, you know, a few thousand jobs. And this is a future technology, but, you know, not everyone knows about it and stuff. And just really, you know, what Emma just said, really, you know, it needs more help, support, advice, people knowing about it, infrastructure, investment in this kind of, you know, new greener jobs and technologies and air and source.
I completely agree, Phoenix, but if Helen had known to ring us, we would have talked her through the process. It might not have changed the outcome, but we could have sorted some bits out. That's all.
The Energy Saving Trust when you
can. Exactly.
Good for being a pioneer, Helen.
Yeah.
You go in with the presentation or any others bits, Emma or Dominic.
Okay,
if you do have a question, you can stick your hand up in the reactions down the bottom, or just pipe in. Over.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay. We were just going to mention, I guess, the importance of behaviour changes. I mean, there's probably, you know, a lot of things people are already doing, but I think we always find it worthwhile covering this just in case there's things that people aren't aware of. I think it's that kind of, if you're consistently doing, you know, each of these different changes, mindful of your energy use, change your habits, that they do really add up. So we've got sort of different areas that we provide sort of advice on, and then we've got stats on. So if you were consistently to do these kind of 8 behaviour changes, actions throughout the year, you could save in the region of about £400 and about 1,000 kg of CO2 emissions. So I think it's just emphasising the powerful of the everyday small actions that can really add up, and they're just easy for us all to be doing on a daily basis. The other area that we kind of like to mention, because people don't always remember, that hot water obviously accounts for a lot of your energy use. So it accounts typically for about 12% of household energy bill. So again, being mindful of your water usage, things like using your dishwasher or washing machines in the most efficient way, you know, showering wisely, etc., can really help you cut your hot water bills and therefore your fuel bills and your carbon emissions. And also there's a couple of schemes we like to mention that can help people out with their fuel bills. So we've just listed some of these here. Dominic, I don't know if you want to say a bit about these.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, repeat that. My dog was attacking my leg.
Terrible timing. It was just about, did you want to say a bit about the schemes to help people with water bills? So, you know, Water Sure,
yeah.
Water Direct.
Okay, cool. You talk to people about water and they go, why are you talking to me about water? It's raining a lot. No, seriously, like my garden is flooded. So it's a tough gig. But the importance of water in terms of energy efficiency is that most of the water we use in the house is hot water. So baths, showers, cooking, those sorts of things, heating. So if you can reduce your water use, you reduce your energy spend. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you shower for half the time you normally shower, you reduce your energy spend. If you shower instead of bath. Now, from my guy's point of view, it's kind of a difficult conversation to have, but how long do you shower? But we encourage them to have that conversation. Only use the dishwasher if you got one when it's full. Only use the washing machine when it's full. It really makes a difference. I could look the numbers up, but it makes a difference.
Dominic, did you want to talk about the help with kind of water bills that some of the companies offer?
If people are vulnerable, a health condition, or they've got what's the word? If they've got a benefit, you can get. I'm sorry, I'm struggling to put this properly. They can get a reduction on their water bill. So it would be reduced to a certain amount.
Yeah, so we've listed a few there. So you can basically ask your water company to see if you qualify. So there's things like, as Dominic mentioned, if you receive benefits, or if you use a lot of water because you have a medical condition, if you have 3 or more school-aged children, for example, then you can ask to have reduction or support with your bills.
I spoke to a family who had 4 sons, and they all played rugby. So they had 2 showers a day each. So, and the mother had to wash 3-4 times a day, and so they got on the water shore. Sorry, I'm pointing with my pen. The water shore thing, which limits your spend to a certain amount.
Sorry, may I jump in there? So you're saying that a family of people that decide to take part in something use a lot of water, so they got a discount for doing so.
Correct.
But
It's
surely
not a discount. No, sorry, Chris. They get, it's capped. I could look it up, but it's about £110. You won't spend more than that.
Right, but surely it's their choice to take part in activities that are using more water than they need to.
Yeah, but it was the mother who had a medical condition.
Okay, I mean that still suggests that choices are leading to benefits, which seems like missing the point completely. It's not encouraging them to use less. It's kind of almost rewarding them for using more.
I think the family was disabled from, is that right? She had
Yeah, no, she had a condition that meant she had to wash 2 or 3 times a day.
Wow.
I don't want to go into details, Christine, but
No. It's not a choice then, is it? It's not like she's, it's a medical necessity, isn't it?
No, but it sounds like the sons or the rugby players in the house were just having 2 hours a day.
Sorry, Chris, if I've misspoken it, but she qualified for the Watershore scheme, which meant she only had to spend £110, however much water she used.
Yeah, I think the eligibility is to, as Christine was saying, it's either medical reasons, or I think it's number of children as opposed to necessarily the activities. But yeah, I think it's on a need basis.
Yeah,
Right.
people are in need for certain things. It's good to get some help and support. I mean, in general, when we're trying to reduce the use of resources, but people's individual cases, you've got to help them out where you can. I had a question there. As a network, what we're trying to do is accelerate solutions, and you guys have got a massive wealth of material here and contacts and grants and things. Of the 27 odd centres at the moment, some of them on individual basis have done like cost of living crisis, home energy advice sessions. Some of them are run by particular groups. Some of them are done on a more informal basis. But I would say maybe only 6 to 10, maybe 10 plus of the 27. We don't have exact data. We need to do more surveys and see what things are doing more specifically. But do you have some materials that can be sent out to all 27 of the different centres, so they've got a standard info pack from yourselves or somewhere that then it could be in the corner of a centre somewhere, and someone can flick through a book, a display, some posters that could be printed if you want to find out more? That would be.
I'll just flick through. I can always come back, but I'll just flick through these a moment just to get to, so I can show you.
Look good. I'm a display person. I like a good display.
So we don't have anything kind of that covers the whole of the UK as such at the moment, but what I was going to say is through this service that we're running in London, Energy Advice London, we do, so it's a home energy advice service. So I'm just trying to get to the resources bit. So we've got a local support directory, so people can find out what's available in their local areas. And so these are the resources that everyone can use. On that website, we have links to various videos on different topics. So some people can find that a more helpful way of understanding something like how to use your heating controls, or how I can understand my energy bills, which I think everyone finds a bit challenging. So there's these videos that people can refer to. Some of these are in British Sign Language, so that can be quite an accessible resource to use. And then we have a partnership portal on the Energy Advice London website, which has our leaflets and fact sheets on there, which everyone is welcome to sort of download and use. So at the moment there's 7 fact sheets that look a bit, I'm just showing the one on electric heating at the moment. We've got one on gas boilers, one on home insulation. So these can provide a bit of a summary for the different topics that can kind of kick off a conversation.
Can groups order those info sheets, info pack from you if we gave them a web link out?
We don't have the resource at the moment to. I've got a limited amount of kind of printed resources, but we do have those obviously as digital copies on the website, and people are more than welcome to download them and print them off themselves. But unfortunately, we don't have the budget at the moment to be able to send out sort of the printed resources.
Okay, it's just a little thought, but we might have some access to some printing, and maybe we could work out some cheaper printing and send them out to 20 odd different centres or something. Depends how many pages there is and stuff. But
yeah, so the fact sheets I think are the sort of 2 pages, sort of back and front.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
That you see there.
Yeah.
The leaflets are bigger, but you know the fact sheets probably cover a lot of the topics. We do have the fact sheets currently translated into Bengali, Romanian, and Polish, if that's useful for different communities. Skipped ahead. So yeah, people are welcome to go on there and download them if they're useful.
Phoenix, if you wanted, just give me or Emma a call and we'll see what we can do with the leaflets.
Yeah, let's talk directly, because I think, you know, we've got free printing at Lush. We can give people the links out in the
that's cool.
newsletter, but it'd be great for each centre to be able to have something there that they could, you know, leaf through and show people. I'm a big believer in physical displays and
of course.
stuff on the internet.
You know, I'm old school, Phoenix. I like reading stuff.
So these ones, they're obviously branded with the Energy Advice London kind of, and we've got the contact details for Energy Advice London. But I do have kind of details about other services.
Right. I think Dev's got a question.
What areas do you cover? This is kind of interesting.
What areas do we cover? Well, actually, I sent a list of the 27 centres to someone just earlier today, so I'm going to have a quick look at that. Basically, I think in a second we've got a question from Debs, but I'm going to reel off the 27 current centres. There's one in Birmingham run by Friends of the Earth. There's Lewis, Oswestry, there's Carmarthen, there's one in Cheltenham, there's one in Colchester, there's Seaford on the south coast, Torbay, Guildford, Windsor and Maidenhead in the house tonight, Ipswich, Elmbridge, Kingston, Staines, Lincoln, Islington, Northampton, out in Norfolk, there's a farm project, Norwich Unity Hub, One Planet Abingdon, one in London, Soho, Totnes, Portsmouth, Stratford-on-Avon just opened up recently. Got to get over there and go and visit them. And going to come and visit Windsor. There's a little nice chat earlier tonight.
So no, I want to go to the London Soho one.
Blackdown and Islington and Kingston in London as well, and hopefully some more soon coming up.
No, seriously, Phoenix, could you send me and Emma that list?
Yeah, definitely. We'll chat after this. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that covers. It's difficult because we got many schemes and they cover different areas, but the names you just reeled off, well, we cover most of it, don't we, Emma?
Would it do you guys have time? We've got a little bit on the different sort of schemes that we've got. Would it be helpful just to briefly go through those and what areas they cover?
Yeah, we'd like that. Debs, do you want a quick one, or can they go through the schemes and we'll come to you then?
No, go on, let Debs go. Go on.
Debs, go.
Quick one. It's not a question, just Phoenix. I think we had some leaflets and it was explaining like how much each of like your appliances uses. And I think we got it from Citizens Advice. It was like a little like 4-page booklet. And it just went through like, so say like a slow cooker, how much that used per hour and how much like your electric heater used per hour and that. I thought that was quite useful, really. I'm sure it was Citizens Advice Bureau that gave them us.
Just one of that's nice, Debs. What we really want to do is, you know, accelerate and upscale getting things out through this network of lots of centres, really. And you know, if there's more advice available, that's really good, of a variety of leaflets, posters and groups, you know. Nice one, Deb. Back to Emma and Dominic for the last 10 minutes or so. Over.
Yeah, Dominic, did you want to talk about this hug scheme?
Yeah, the home upgrade grant. Right. If you are off gas, so you've got electricity, like storage heaters or just electric heaters or something like that, you would be you would can apply for the home upgrade grant. You'd go through your local authority, and you'd need to be on low income. Are you guys aware of what an EPC is?
Yeah.
Famous, yeah.
Yeah, everyone know that energy performance certificate?
Correct. Yeah. So it measures what your house is. So you'd have to be between D and G. Now that's okay because the average UK house is a D. So you're likely to qualify anyway. The only thing with HUG is that you have to live in one of the qualifying local authority areas. And that means your local authority has to have applied for the funding. And it is not universal at all. There's 2 in London, the whole of Hertfordshire, Newcastle, places like that. But we would not say to people, don't not ring us, because if you don't apply for HUG, I think this is right, Emma, we can find something else for you. There are other schemes available.
Yeah, I think that yeah, as you're saying, Dominic, there's different schemes in different areas apart, in addition to the kind of national ones. So it's definitely worth phoning up your local energy advice kind of service to find out what you could qualify for in your area.
Yeah.
Cool, thanks, Dominic. Then I just wanted to mention a couple of new advice services we've got in the north of England. So one is Take Charge. So this is a home energy advice service funded by Electricity Northwest, and it's delivered in partnership with ourselves, Citizens Advice, and it covers the northwest of England. So you can phone up to speak to an advisor, and you can also kind of book, get information through the website and kind of book for someone to call you back. So yeah, that's sort of targeted to help people with their energy bills, support with debt, make sure they're kind of accessing any financial support they might be eligible for. And yeah, it's sort of again targeted at people affected by fuel poverty, struggling with cost of living crisis. But yeah, worth just giving a call and seeing how they might be able to help if you're in that area. And then we've also got Home Energy Advice Northeast. So again, this is delivered by ourselves in partnership with Groundwork Northeast and Community Action Northumberland. So it's covers like the North of Tyne area, and yeah, again, you can phone up to see what you might be eligible for in terms of any grant funding, and just
are you going to share these slides, Emma?
Yeah, happy to.
Yeah, I just on that, it's a horrible name, I don't like it. Home Energy Advice Northeast. It's not currently active because of various legal reasons, but it will
It's just been launched at the moment.
Yeah, it'll be active next week.
If there's any websites mentioned, it would be helpful if anyone can find them and pop them in the chat. We do try and save this and share it with some network afterwards and things, or we could put it.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, if you tag team in there. And just one point there from Helen about, asking people on lower incomes to reduce and save things, but also maybe it'd be good to say a little bit, we can run on another 5-10 minutes or so about, what you're doing with industry and, Helen's point was, what about the richer people and them using less of the Earth's resources is a very good point. But also, you know, what you're doing with industry and government as well as that kind of household level, and a little bit on. I think you mentioned transport and low carbon solutions in some of your stuff. I'd love to hear a little bit about that. Over.
Okay. Dominic, is there anything you wanted to pick up on
Yeah,
that?
no, it's fine. Right. Transport. We have a transport scheme which works to deliver charging points. I mean, this is the big thing with electric cars, isn't it? The more charging points there are, the more people will buy electric cars. So we're doing that in London and across the country. Sorry, Phoenix, what was your first
You're
question?
encouraging bike transport and other modes of transport and things as well.
Yeah.
We've got a free bike at the London office. If that's,
I think
if
I
that's
mentioned that
anything.
the work we're doing with different local authorities to kind of support them in terms of their policies and how to kind of encourage take up of more active modes of transport. So to try and shift people away from obviously from cars using fossil fuels to electric vehicles, and then obviously trying to encourage more use of public transport or bikes or walking. So that's all part of that kind of more general work, working with local authorities to kind of support them with their policies and plans to encourage that across the country.
Are you doing that at the national government level as well? And the other question was about industry, or, you know, I think Helen's was about, you know.
No, fair point. Yes, we have a huge, well, not huge, we have a policy department that works to lobby to government, whoever they are. Yeah, so we're trying to work with them to do that, but that's we can only lobby, Phoenix.
Yeah. So that put one other point there when you mentioned policy. So yeah, that's what we need: system change, and we need to change policies at the top. I think one of the big campaigns in the last while was about insulation. I read something about how leaky our homes are. So are you pushing insulation policy? But also I read some stuff about Denmark, Germany, France, how insulated their homes are and how terrible 19th century leaky homes
Phoenix, I've got to be careful here because I'm speaking as an EST employee.
Fair enough, yeah.
But the big answer is insulate homes better.
Yeah.
That's it. And the fact that it's not being done is wrong. And I think, and again, I'm speaking personally here, Phoenix, not as EST, that would sort a lot of the problem.
Yeah, so in terms of the financial support at the moment, just to mention the Great British Insulation Scheme, as it's been branded. So this is a current government grant scheme to promote the uptake of insulation measures in homes. So they're saying you could save around £310 per year on your energy bills if you get measures under this scheme. And this one's particularly focused on low cost insulation like loft, cavity wall insulation. So there is the sort of scheme running at the moment to try and help people be able to take up these measures in their home and help with keeping the heat in rather than just letting it go out the doors and the windows.
The big one, Phoenix, is the solid wall insulation because it's expensive and tricky, and it changes the way your house looks. And I don't have an answer to that, but sort of 60% of the households in the UK are solid wall. So how do you insulate them properly?
Yeah, and I suppose the other bit of the question was about industry. I think you guys and some of your stuff, you're working with industry to try and get them on the energy saving.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, I'm not so sure. I know about kind of work we're doing with sort of bit small businesses to kind of support them to
Oh, yeah,
take up
small business.
measures,
Yeah,
be able to improve their energy efficiency. I know we are working, kind of mentioned some of the work we do with different commercial partners. So that's kind of helping to encourage them to look at their energy efficiency as well. The other thing I just want, picking up on your point about kind of you know, getting everyone to kind of share in this, you know, the need to kind of improve the leaking, you know, the insulation of our homes, etc. I think we're funded to kind of target the support at those kind of in the most desperate need, so that's why we kind of target a lot of our support at, you know, houses in fuel poverty, because they're the ones kind of really kind of desperately in need of support. But I would say that all our advice, you know, is kind of equally applicable to any sort of home. The Energy Advice London service has got no eligibility criteria. Anyone can use it to get advice on how to improve the efficiency of their home or invest in renewable technologies. So yeah, even though we're trying to target our support at those who need it most, it's really relevant for everyone. You know, it's all of our responsibilities. So
I think it's brilliant work you're doing, guys. That's absolutely amazing. Since the 1992 Rio Earth Summit, respect. It's helping a lot of
Yeah.
people.
And leaky homes are still a problem.
I wish I'd been there, Phoenix. How amazing would that have been?
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. This is what we need. Everyone working together, cooperating.
Right. Does anyone have a personal question about their energy efficiency use before we finish?
Or any more general questions?
Yeah, general question. Maybe you can set a little discussion that we've started. Dishwashers, are they better or worse than washing by hand?
I know the answer to this, Chris.
Blended.
How many people? No. As I've been an advisor on the phones. Right. The first thing I do is ask you a question. How many people in your house?
Well, in our house, 2.
Right. So no.
But if we fill the machine,
wash by hand, or fill the dishwasher to the full, and then use it 3 or 4 days after you've started filling it.
yeah, sure. So a full, sorry, assuming that a dishwasher is full, regardless of how many people there are in a house, if it is full, it is more efficient than washing the same equivalent amount of
Yeah.
dish and cutlery.
If you wash everything, if you got breakfast, lunch, dinner, and you wash it, that's a load of hot water. No, dishwasher would be better. Easy.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's an interesting question, because yeah, sometimes I would have thought it'd be the other way around, but it's a good question, Chris. I've got one then for you. This is a very personal one as well. What info on the average shower versus the average bath on energy or water use? I'm a real bath person. I like to soak, and people tell me, oh, you should have showers, it's less water and it's less energy. The average, I mean, it's hard to tell because people different amounts of time things, but do you have any things on the average amount of energy or water used for bath versus shower? Is it 50% more for a bath, or, you know, I'm trying to get the bath.
You know, I'm glad I'm here, Phoenix. It's, right. Depends how often you have a bath.
Without getting too personal, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I've hung out with a lot of the great unwashed over the years, you could say.
Yeah,
so
exactly. No, don't worry. No, the easy answer there is have a shower, put the plug in, okay, and see how much water there is when you finish washing, however long the shower, and it will be 2 inches. Whereas if you have a bath, it'll be about a foot of water, of hot water, which you will have paid for.
Okay, and energy use?
Well,
similar.
Loads more, because it's hot water coming out the tap.
2
Yeah,
inches.
all our stats at the moment are sort of trying to get people to, yeah, showers are generally, you know, or, you know, assuming people kind of use showers and baths roughly the same frequency, showers are always going to be more energy efficient.
Easily.
And I think trying to get people to reduce their shower time by 1 minute, you know, is definitely gonna help reduce
Which
your
is
energy
difficult,
usage.
like me, if you've got a teenage son, because they're in there for 18 minutes. So
I just went back to the businesses. What sort of advice would you give to small businesses then? I asked about industry, but yes, and
okay,
business.
right, okay. Small businesses.
Or more than that, you know, a centre. Sorry, a lot of these centres are taking over old NatWest, old Pizza Huts, old, you know, River Island shops in the middle of, which is technically a small medium business. So, what advice to any centre runners or small businesses to reduce LED lights, whatever it is?
We wouldn't give advice to a small business.
Not through not through the schemes that we've mentioned.
Yeah. We would point them, I don't know, Emma, I'm thinking here.
I can go away and find out more. Yeah, that's probably kind of not the area that Dominic and I are sort of most familiar with. I can find out more about what we're doing at the moment. I know certainly from my involvement with kind of different local authorities in London, that it's certainly worth seeing what support you can get through kind of local chambers of commerce, because they are, a lot of them are quite big on sort of working with local businesses, especially small businesses, charities, to support them with kind of improving the energy efficiency, also mindful of kind of, the impact it will have on their bills and sort of longer term sustainability as organizations. So they're doing a lot of good work. And then their sort of different local authorities are kind of setting up like green economy sort of forums to support businesses working in their areas. So I know, for example, Kingston have got one running, and that's working hard to see how they can support local businesses, but also how local businesses can work to have a greener economy and to kind of, you know, work more sustainably in their communities.
Of local authorities will be able to support small businesses.
But let me we'll look into that and see if we can get back to you with more. I know there is some stuff I've seen on the website, so I'm sure some stuff is happening. Dominic and I are just not so familiar with the business side of things.
Yeah, that's cool. Definitely, local chamber of commerce is good advice. The business improvement district or the Green Economy Forum, if anyone can find links for them.
No, they are usually called something like a business improvement district, or like they identify an area in the local area that they will support.
Yeah,
so that would work.
Right. Yeah, business improvement district we're aware of. A group of local 100 companies in around us.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes they'll give some money to the centre or money for improving. Sometimes you actually have to pay them as well, so we know all the situations. But actually, you know, hopefully they would help, you know, a centre to get a bit of money to help improve their energy use and things like that. So all amazing, really good advice, guys. That's really appreciated. And we'll be networking this webinar out afterwards. So lots of the groups.
Well, yeah, thanks so much for having us. Yeah, really interesting, and thanks for all your questions. But yeah, if there's anything else, we'll see if we can send around those links that we mentioned to the different services and websites. And if we find some more in terms of the support available,
we will bear you in mind,
businesses.
Phoenix and everyone else.
Definitely. Well, let's have a chat about this afterwards separately, you know, particularly about the promotional materials. Maybe we'll find some free printing at Lush or somewhere, and they can, you know, print stuff to send out to all the different centres would be brilliant, particularly about funding available and things like that. I know people would appreciate that, and particularly cost of living crisis has come up massively through. We did a cost of living webinar the other year that was very well attended. A lot of people really worried about their bills in kind of November kind of time and things. So, all right, folks, any parting comments, or if you want to put something in the chat about what you thought tonight? Thank you very much to Emma and Dominic for coming and sharing the wisdom. And check out Energy Saving Trust and all the great schemes and grants and things that are available there. And hopefully we'll get you some material sent out. Any final comments?
We're always here.
Brilliant.
I'm just reading some comments in the chat. I like Debs, you're the dishwasher in our house. Yeah, I feel the same way. And I'm very efficient.
I get my kids to do it, so
Yeah, train up the next generation and
Yeah,
no, exactly.
talent dishwashing.
Cool.
definitely.
All right, guys.
All right, thanks very much for coming. Pop a comment in the chat if you want, guys. Just a few words, what you thought of tonight. And thank you very much to Emma and Dominic. Thank you much, everyone, for coming. We're going to stop recording in a sec, but if people do want to stay around for 10, 15 or whatever it is, we can have a chat then. But really appreciate everyone's input. Lots of good knowledge here tonight. And see you next week for the next ones. I'm just going to stop the recording.